I'm Frankie.
And I'm Alex.
And together we're FNA Van Life.
For the last 3 years, we've been living in a van just like this one.
And pooping in this bucket.
Today we're going to share with you a couple of lessons that we've learned about how to make your DIY composting toilet work great.
This is the best DIY toilet we actually have ever had.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's actually only our second one too.
The first one was not good.
No. Hey, what you have there? Is that one of those van life vans?
Yeah.
You got like a toilet in there, a bathroom area?
Yep.
You got like a black tank?
No.
You got like one of those nature heads? Like a sea head?
No.
One of those cassette toilet things?
No.
You got one of those like really cool incinerated toilets?
We have a bucket toilet from Home Depot.
Oh.
Hey, wait, let me tell you about it. It's actually pretty cool.
Okay, you got my attention.
Our glorified composting toilet is stored in the front bench area right here. I would show you, but my dog is napping. Here, Papa. When you're ready to use the toilet, all you have to do is remove the cushion, lift up the seat, and it reveals the toilet. We chose the hideaway model because honestly, you don't really use the toilet that much, and we use the toilet outside of the van more often than not. Our toilet is housed within this bench area, which is also our shower. It has 3 compartments. The first is the shower, the second is the toilet area, and the third is where we keep our composting material. The shower is also where we store the toilet paper and the wet wipes. Easy access.
Almighty toilet paper.
We built the lid to this area with a standard sized toilet seat. We actually had trouble finding a small enough one to fit the space. It's a soft closed lid, so it's all luxury. We also put 2 handles on it so it's easy to remove, and it stays in place with a lip around the entire edge, so it's nice and strong and is supported by more than just the bucket. Most of the time when you're using it, you would just lift it up, sit down, do your business, and then grab the scooper from the organic materials section, some might call it a pooper scooper, and grab some of the dirt from over here and just cover your business. Simple as that.
Babe, you just wasted dirt.
I know, I feel bad, I should scoop it out. When we're ready to clean it out, we just remove the lid with the handles, and we get to the main area of the composting toilet. There's enough room behind the toilet to store a bag of extra material so you never run out of poop to scoop, and some extra bags which acts as a liner for our toilet. We also store some cans of soup down here, which you guys aptly named poop soup. It's black bean. Now Frank's gonna show you how you get it out of here.
Of course, I'm the one who has to do the dirty work. We have a Johnny Compost urine divertor, so we pull the line off that normally allows the pee to go through. And then right here is the Johnny Compost urine diverter, and that's where the pipe goes on to, so it could go into a bucket or right out, depending on how you do it. Yeah, that separates the ones in the tubes. This is disgusting because I had diarrhea in it. Now let's take it outside and I'll show you how easy it is to take it apart and clean it up. This right here is the large urine diverter. It has 4 screws normally, but ours only has 3 because we broke one. But it still works perfectly fine. To remove it, undo the 3 screws. It actually saves you time because we only have 3. And if you have a power tool, even less time. The nice part about this one is you don't even really have to wear gloves, but you probably should. Lift it up. All right, and then you just pull the bag off, lift it out, and that's it. Look, nice and clean inside. Once you have your bag out, all you gotta do is put a new bag back in, screw the urine diverter back in, and it's all done, ready to go. Is everything okay, Alex?
I think I actually got the worst job of the 2 of us.
Yeah, pulling out the bag is pretty easy.
When we first started using this composting toilet system, we tried to do it without the bag. We thought that it would be a lot easier and more eco-friendly to just be able to dump it or dig a hole somewhere and get rid of it ecologically. But there's been way more occurrences where we needed to dump it in a city or a urban.
I didn't know you put the urine diverter in the chair. Why would you do that?
Anyways. There's been way more occurrences where we just needed to like grab it and go. And then also You don't have to worry about cleaning the walls of the toilet ever because the walls of the toilet are protected by the plastic bag.
Yeah, it's been a lot easier for us to maintain this toilet when we had the bag in it compared to when we did not.
It's still definitely more eco-friendly than a regular toilet. We can use this for a whole month, fill it up, and never use a drop of water. Plus, this is actually easier to clean than those fancy $1,000 toilets. You just pick the bag up and you're done. The other ones you actually have to clean out and deal with all of the stuff that's broken up on the inside.
There's a couple keys to it though, and we'll show you that when we're putting it back in.
When you're shitting on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you don't want as much humidity as that you would have in Florida. What we've learned is that certain times of the year, your composting toilet is gonna be more efficient and effective than others. When it's cold outside, you really have no smell, no humidity problems, no mold building up on the top of it. It's perfect. But when it starts to get really hot and humid, that's when you start to see some trouble. The more hot and humid it is, the more drying agents you need in your organic material. So we've started adding perlite, little white things, to keep the moisture out of the dirt. There are tons of different materials that you can use to cover up your number 2. We use just plain old dirt from the hardware store because it, for us, has been the easiest to access. But you could also use animal bedding, you could use wood chips. We have friends that rip up all of the little cardboard that they get and use that as filler. You could use sawdust, basically anything you can find that's gonna be dry, wick away moisture, and keep it nice and dry inside your bucket.
Anything dry?
Definitely not anything, but there are so many different materials that you could choose from, you might as well experiment. What's the worst that happens? You go through one bag faster than you would have? That's also why we divert the number 1 from the number 2.
Which one in the bathroom?
One thing we never do is put toilet paper in the toilet. It adds bulk, it adds mass, it adds potential for smell, and it's super easy to just put into the trash can. It's actually very common practice here in Mexico, even in regular plum toilets, that you don't put the toilet paper in the toilet.
Some people like to dig holes, some people go DTB, but for me, this bucket is perfect. If you're not feeling well, it's gonna be hard to go DTB, as well as who wants to go outside when they're feeling sick? I wanna stay in my house and drop a deuce right in my own bucket. Oh.
The sicker you are and the grosser that the stuff that you put in your body is, the weirder the stuff that's gonna go in that composting toilet. And when it is not good coming out, it does not smell good in the bucket. If you got some crazy stuff going on in your digestive tract, you might have to clean your bucket out more often. No matter how much dirt you put on top of a really bad poop, it's still gonna smell.
It's actually pretty comfy. I might sit at a campfire like this. You mind if I join you?
Sure, I guess so. Is that a chair or a toilet?
It's both.
Oh.
You never have to leave the conversation, whether you gotta do 1 or 2.
The most important thing you have to remember about bucket life is that you cover everything completely.
And sometimes, when you're going down bouncy roads, the stuff shakes around a lot, and you gotta go back and fill it. One thing you must do is layer the bucket with some dirt. If you don't layer the bucket with dirt, the bag is gonna be bouncing everywhere, plus your poop's gonna go on the bottom, and then you're probably not gonna block the smell from that first poop. That's gonna do 2 things for you. It's gonna pull the bag nice and tight. The second thing it's gonna do is keep you from having a smelly poop at the bottom of the bag.
You'd never know you were sitting on a toilet eating your lunch.
One thing I found incredibly amazing about this toilet setup that we have is it hardly ever smells. The only time it does is when the poop's not fully covered. So you just gotta make sure you fully cover it.
The other time that it does is while you're going. And that's why it's great that there's an exhaust fan right here. So if someone's sitting in the back trying to enjoy their day and someone else is in the front trying to do their business, you can turn the fan on exhaust and the two don't have to cohabitate.
We also have 2 fans in the back that we could turn on that also help push the air forward, so that way no smell stays inside the house.
That old saying, don't shit where you eat, doesn't apply to van life.
Here you go, honey.
Yum! One of the main reasons that we went with a DIY composting toilet is because of the price. When we were building our first van, only thing that mattered was cost. We were trying to keep our costs as low as possible. And then after living with the bucket toilet for over a year, we realized it's pretty nice. So why would we spend $1,000 on one when we know that the $10 one works just as good?
Let's start with the most expensive toilet, the incinerated toilet. That could be anywhere from $2,500 down to $2,200.
Which is a whole lot of money for something that you're gonna poop on. Plus then you have to power it, so you gotta think about your electricity bank as well.
And we're not talking a little bit of power. That thing pulls some energy.
Juice it up! Next up, you got your traditional sea head, nature's head, all of those composting toilets that you crank around in a circle. Those cost anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 per unit. And then you've got to buy the fancy Coco core, which you can only find at certain stores. The best place to buy it is online, but you don't always have a shipping address. And especially for us, we're doing 9 countries in 9 months. You think we want to be worrying about where we're getting our Coco core to flush the toilet?
Hey babe, we gotta wait like a month before we can go to the next country because we're waiting on that Coco core.
Basically, all of our storage would have to be toilet debris.
Another option that's not crazy expensive would be a cassette toilet, but they can get pretty stinky and you have to clean them often.
Just the chemical smell that comes off of those is really gross. And even when they're clean, you can still smell the chemicals.
We were traveling with a friend who was like, this guy thoroughly cleans everything often. And with 3 of us in that van, that toilet started to smell. I was not interested in one of those toilets after that.
Just because it's DIY doesn't mean it's janky. You can get so creative and make this DIY system look absolutely beautiful. We just went for like the basic model.
It actually came with a 12-volt DC computer fan as well. That way you could exhaust out any of the smells and you would just drill a hole into your van where you can either do it out the base of your van, out the top of your van, or out the side of your van. It comes with all the different hookups for that.
But honestly, we haven't needed the exhaust fan at all. Perhaps in the heat and the humidity a little bit more, but it hasn't really been a problem.
Instead of it being a $10 bucket, it's a $140 bucket.
Which is still very good when you look at the difference between this and the super fancy toilets.
The super fancy toilets look a lot nicer than this, but I don't give a shit about looks when it's being hidden anyway.
And the super fancy toilets are harder to hide away. They're big, they're bulky. You basically have to have a whole shower to put it in so that you can keep it in a space. It takes up a lot of room in your van, and we just didn't want to give that up for something that we maybe use twice a day, maybe?
And a lot of the times we actually wind up using the bathroom outside of the van.
No matter how fancy or expensive your toilet is, you're gonna want to use the bathroom outside your van as much as possible. Oh, get out of here. No.
The less often you go in the van, the less often you gotta clean the can. Oh shit, I didn't wash my hands.
We love our toilet!
And now we wanna know what you think about it too.
If we're gonna do it all over again, we would probably still have the bucket toilet system. Let us know in the comments below if you think that you could do number 2 in a bucket.
Or number 3.
What's a number 3?
It's when you do both. And we hope that this can make your day F&A.
A huge thank you to our Patreons for helping keep the bucket full every month. Check the link below to join today.
Mind if I join you?
Sure. Is that a chair or a toilet?
It's both. Oh.